so hold on to them if you want to keep them. All right, we have 3 really fantastic readers tonight. Up first, we have Josh Denslow. If you don't know Josh, you should hang out with him afterwards and talk to him about where his stories have appeared, like Barrelhouse, Third Coast, Cutbank, Wigleaf, and Black Clock, among others, so make sure you ask him where else. He's got a forthcoming collection. It's entitled Everyone is Special. It's coming out in 2019 from 713 Books. And in his free time, Josh right now is spending a lot of hours building Lego sets with his 3 boys, playing drums, and editing SmokeLong Quarterly. Hey, y'all give it up for Josh.
All right. Thank you, Taylor. I hope I don't blow anyone's faces off. Those are weird. I guess it's a music stand, right? I'll just hold it. How about that? Okay. So these are part of a new series I've been working on that I'm calling Myths. I don't know why, but basically each of them features a couple going through a breakup and a mythological creature is involved in some way. And I've got about 12 of them. I figured you guys are a great place to test some of them out, so I've got 2 of them here. I'll try to read as fast as possible so we can get to Molly. What's up? So this first one is called Ash. I didn't mean to cheat on Sarah. First, she had the flu for like 2 weeks, and then she hopped on a plane to visit her family back east. Next thing I knew, I hadn't seen her in a month. That's when I ran into Carla at the grocery store. We were pretty crazy a few years ago, and she was still wearing that perfume that was even sweeter mixed with sweat. Thing is, I forgot Sarah and Carla knew each other from that drunk painting class. When Sarah got back from her trip, I immediately went to explain myself, that she had hired one of those vicious green dragons to perch on the roof of her craftsman house. I felt confident I could have talked my way past the red one, but the green ones were notorious for not listening to reason. The one Sarah had hired was smaller than others I had seen, but his wings still reached the ground, and he was cradling the house like an egg. His mean little eyes were scanning the neighborhood, and smoke puffed from his nose. I parked my car across the street and took a few deep breaths. I'd heard that if you didn't act scared, there was a chance you could confuse a dragon. They were scanning for fear. I just needed to get inside before he figured out who I was. I walked toward Sarah's door with my shoulders back and my head down, which was actually sort of uncomfortable. "Halt!" the dragon said in a booming voice. His claws were grabbing the roof in the exact spot where Sarah and I had sat the first time she'd invited me into her house. We'd climbed out of her bedroom window and lay there watching the stars and the occasional dragon soaring past. We didn't even kiss or anything. It was sort of wonderful. The green dragon craned his reptilian head down at me and sniffed the air. Then something that sounded like a laugh belched out of a plume of smoke. "Holy shit, man," he said. "She told me you'd show up, but I just didn't believe it. Did you not see me up here?" "I saw you," I said. "My orders are to turn you into a pitiful pile of ash the moment you step into the yard. Then she wants to sweep you up and mail you to Carla with a note that says, 'He's all yours.'" I gulped. It didn't seem like Sarah to go for the burning death option. "And here you are, in her yard," he said, and I could see flames dancing gleefully in his nostrils. "I just wanted to apologize," I said, "but I'll leave. You don't even have to tell her I was here. I promise I won't come back." The dragon thought about it. I'm actually curious about this, what this apology would have sounded like. I mean, you did nail one of her friends. "They aren't that good of friends," I said. "I used to date Carla." "So that makes it okay?" This wasn't how it was supposed to go down. I wanted to tell Sarah that I missed her, that she smelled nice, that the guy who'd hooked up with Carla wasn't the real me. It was the opposite of okay, I said. "I'm gonna throw this out there. Your apology is total garbage," the dragon said. "It's like you don't know Sarah has feelings." "I know she has feelings," I said. Just before she'd gotten sick, I'd taken her to see a movie, and she'd cried when the main character's dog died. I'd given her our last clean napkin and put my arm around her. I could still feel her head there now, her cheek pressed into the fleshy part of my chest. "We're at an impasse here," the dragon said. I'm supposed to char your ass, but I imagine you want to live long enough to screw some other girl over. So I'll make a deal with you. Convince me that you're sorry, and I'll let you go. Don't convince me, and well, you know what happens. He stretched his wings out to the side and shook them before tucking them into his scaly back. I took a deep breath. When I feel like I'm getting too close to someone, I do something to push them away. Cliché! The dragon roared. I closed my eyes and waited for the cascade of fire. Besides, Sarah said you guys hadn't grown all that close yet. She said that? I mean, I thought we'd had something special. Certainly better than anything I'd had with that tattletale Carla. There were many times when I was with Sarah that I felt content, like the world made sense. It was as if we'd never climbed down from her roof. But how did I explain that to a dragon? Smoke steamed from the dragon's mouth. She said you were never, and I quote, real with her. That really got me. You tell her that I never thought she was real with me. What was I supposed to think when she had the flu and wouldn't let me see her? Isn't the point of a relationship to see each other at our best and worst times? I could have brought her soup or rubbed her feet. I don't know. It's not like I ever wanted to be with someone who had the flu before. Then, she didn't see me before she left on her trip? Did she stop to think how I felt? The dragon stared at me, but since he wasn't murdering me yet, I kept going. Then the craziest thing happened. I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about her when I was doing other things. I found myself driving by her house and going over our past conversations looking for clues. I hated her for making me feel that way. This isn't an apology. It kind of is, I said. It's getting there. I've heard enough, the dragon said. I'll give you a 5-second lead. He immediately started counting, and it wasn't until he got to 2 that I finally turned and ran for my car. 5, the dragon yelled as I was pulling open my door. I received 3rd-degree burns on my back and shoulders, but I lived. I drove myself to the hospital with my skin melting to the seat. Even in indescribable pain, all I could think of was how after a few weeks in the hospital, I would have another chance to make things right with Sarah. So that's Ash, that's the first one. This next one is called Delicacy. Okay. So, totally different scenario. Not the same guy, but still true. Maggie walked in with something wrapped in butcher's paper, and she placed it on the table with a flourish. Unicorn, she said. Is that a new pet name for me, I asked. It's what's for dinner. Maggie and I have done a lot of kinky things over the years, but eating a rare magical animal was not one of them. Besides, I had already warmed up a slice of pizza in the microwave and had just sat down to eat. I'd even used a paper plate because I wasn't expecting her home so early. Maggie had a real boner for not creating unnecessary waste, but sometimes I wanted to throw something away and get on with my night. She somehow continued without mentioning the paper plate. You know, they say eating unicorn meat can be revitalizing and rejuvenating. I knew what she was getting at. We hadn't had sex in over 6 months. I hadn't even seen her naked in at least 3 because she'd started wearing a towel after her shower. I used to really enjoy watching her change into her nightgown. How do you know it's actually a unicorn? I said. She shrugged. How do you know that anything we buy is what it claims to be? That steak you like at the meat counter could be dog. Well, if it is, it's good as hell. I feel confident this is the real deal. The guy had horns for sale too, and hooves. That doesn't bother you? Look, unicorns managed to stay hidden for thousands of years until overpopulation drove them into the open. If this particular unicorn couldn't manage to stay hidden from the guy who was selling it, it deserved what it got. The guy looked like he was made of marshmallows. My pizza was pretty shriveled. It had been in the refrigerator for a few days, and I tasked the microwave with the impossible feat of sprucing it up for consumption. I'll stick with my pizza, I said. Maggie pulled her hair out of its ponytail and let it fall onto her shoulders like that chocolate waterfall in the Willy Wonka movie. She knew how much that drove me crazy. What happened to your sense of adventure, she asked. Blood was beginning to seep through the paper and pool on the table. The tendril of it was working its way toward my plate. That thing is really leaking, I said. The blood is where the magic is. I got the bloodiest piece he had. I had never heard Maggie talk that way. I wasn't sure if it was a turn-on as she was talking about unicorn flesh, but as she was using the throaty voice she saved for when we were in bed together, she leaned toward the wall and dimmed the light. "We don't even have to cook it," she said. "We can eat it raw, right out of the paper." She fixed her gaze on me. "We need this." People believe that various parts of unicorns have magical properties. The horn could be ground and added to tea to increase sexual drive. The mane could heal wounds. Its internal organs could cure cancer, boost memory, and enhance athletic prowess. The hooves could be boiled into a soup that made you more attractive. Even the eyes themselves were used. Pop one into your mouth, and you could see the truth of any situation. But the blood, that was love. A couple that drank unicorn blood together could never be torn apart. Maggie was breathing heavily, her chest heaving, waiting for me to respond. Through the window behind her, I saw a faint white glow. "What is that?" I asked. She turned and saw it too. We moved in unison and looked out into our unkempt yard. Standing between the mailbox and the driveway was a unicorn. Its mane blew in a slight breeze, its horn glowing from where it protruded from its forehead. I'd never seen one in person before, and it looked much more like a horse than I was expecting. "I've heard of this happening," Maggie said. "It can smell the blood of its fallen comrade. It's mourning." As we watched, another unicorn joined the first one. Maggie reached over and grabbed my hand. "They're beautiful." Without even noticing their arrival, I suddenly saw 6 more dispersed around our yard. Under the basketball hoop I never used anymore, next to Maggie's bird bath, pacing in front of the garage, and they were all staring through the window at us. "I can't do this," I said. She pulled me away from the window. "Yes, you can." By now, the blood had soaked onto my paper plate, and the edges drooped down to the table. A faint glow came from inside the butcher paper, pulsing slightly, as if it were breathing too. Maggie reached over and began unwrapping it. If I ate a piece of this unicorn with her, I'd be sending a message, and I wasn't sure what I wanted. Maggie was wonderful, but I'm not sure she was my kind of wonderful anymore. I liked pizza. I liked paper plates. "What about the unicorns outside?" I asked. "Forget about them." She finished unwrapping the meat and the glow filled the kitchen. Glass shattered behind us and it sounded exactly like a horn striking the window. "We have to hurry," Maggie said, "before they take it from us." The sound of more breaking glass came from the back of the house, hooves on the tile in the bathroom, a whinny from our bedroom. We were surrounded. "This doesn't seem right," I said. "The dangerous things are the only things worth doing," she said. She put her fingers into the meat and pulled off a bloody piece. I could feel the unicorns watching me now, but I didn't want to turn around. I wanted to live in that moment forever, waiting for the feel of a horn through my shoulder blades. Maggie reaching out to me, blood dripping on the table. I felt more alive than I had in months. That's exactly what we were missing. Thank you. Thanks to Malvern for having me. Looking forward to hearing more. Thank you.